Welcome to the latest edition of the Follow the Leader podcast. I am Kirk McCracken, the managing editor of the Sand Springs Leader newspaper, and I'm here with
Rusty Gunn,
pastor of Church That Matters. And each week we talk about Sand Springs sports. We usually pick a different sport every week and just kind of break it down, talk to the kids. We've been having coaches on lately. I like having the coaches on. What do you think?
It's been good to hear their perspective and kind of the relationship between them and the athletes and how that's all going and developed. Pretty cool.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't get to see that. You know, the kids are either on the court or they're on the the course or whatever, the field, and a lot of times they'll see the coach yelling, and that's basically what they see. But whenever we've talked to the kids and the coaches, it's really neat to see that relationship.
Well, we hear that there's so much more than just the athletic coach. They're really a life mentor for these students.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is our second one for 2017. We did, of course, this is our second year because we did it in 2016, 2017.
That's right. We've been doing this for 2 years now.
So how do you feel like it's going so far?
Man, I'm enjoying it. I had a lot of fun getting to know these kids a little bit better and hear their stories, and even more importantly, get to share these stories with our community and others who are listening.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we are live right now at Church That Matters Studios, and this podcast is sponsored by Inkwell Printing. And we're really happy to have them as a sponsor. And basically, they specialize in T-shirts, silk screening, vinyl printing, direct to T-shirt, I think.
Yeah, direct to garment, and now,
garment.
Of course, baseball season's coming, and baseball uniforms is one of the other things. That cover there.
So everybody go check out Inkwell Printing on Facebook, and then also at
Inkwell.clothing.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
I know. I just wanted to say it first.
Tonight we're going to talk some cross country. It's our first podcast talking about.
I'm tired already.
Tonight we've got Sand Springs cross country runner Cheyenne Walden, who started at Sand Springs as a freshman. She's now a senior. She won her first cross country state title as a freshman. She's won 4 straight cross country titles, which has never been done in large schools in Oklahoma. She's also got 3 track and field titles, so she's got 7 total. We've also got her coaches, Chris Corbin and Mike Burdge, Mayor Mike Burdge. How are you guys doing?
Yeah,
Good.
Well,
All right, it's good to have you guys here. We haven't done cross country yet. We haven't done anything running related. So this is our first one. But
I have not done anything running related. I'm just telling you.
literally.
literally,
I try to not ever do anything running related, but here we are, nonetheless.
Well, we've got Coach Corbin and Coach Burdge on, but we really just wanted to have Cheyenne on. We invited those guys to come along for the ride. But to talk about Cheyenne, some of Cheyenne's accomplishments, she started at Sand Springs as a freshman, and she's won 4 cross-country state titles, 3 track titles for long distance running. So you've got 7 total. Is that right?
Actually, there's the mile too. She did the state in a mile last year also.
That's 7.
Oh, she just corrected her coach.
Very good,
Right.
very good, Cheyenne.
So you've got 7 total, and just really quick, you guys might be able to talk about this a little bit better. But at one point, the track and cross country teams here at Sand Springs were in trouble as far as like participation and support. Yeah. So I think at one point, was it not discontinued for a couple of years, or just maybe
Track.
Yeah, track was okay,
Yeah,
but cross country's been going.
Cross country, but it still was a struggle. Cross country started in 1986.
Okay.
Regina McBride started it. She was a 7th grade science teacher, and she was a 400 runner at OSU. So we started in 86, and I just volunteered to come on and help her. And there was probably 15 years there that we, or maybe closer to 20, that we had a hard time. We probably would have a boys team and 3 girls. The next year it would be a girls team and 3 boys. So we didn't start doing full teams. Coach Corbin come in 07, and that's about the time we started picking up and having a lot better participation. The track program did go away and then it even got even more distant away when they built a new football stadium and left the track out. The reason it got left out on the track from the building, there was just not anybody there with the passion for track. So When they decided to bring track back, they wanted a booster club to help, and they couldn't start a boosters club for track, but there was no track. So they came to cross country and asked us if we would help, if we would take on the boosters club, and it'd be for both of us, and that's how we brought it back.
So basically, when things kind of started to turn around, that I remember, was with Morgan Long and with Cheyenne, and that's when, and I know that it started before then, but those two girls.
Notoriety.
That's when we started to build a program,
right?
Not just some, we've had individuals, the Michael Cliff, the Marcus Mazes of the world, but they're, as far as an overall respectable program, that's right around then is when it started to kind of start rolling as far as getting a lot of numbers and building an actual program. So
Cheyenne, I want to ask you to be a part of something that is kind of a resurgence of the program, and to you and Morgan have set the bar really, really high. What's it like to be a part of something like that?
Pretty good for the younger runners that are coming in from elementary, so they can think about what they can do when they're in high school.
So you realize the impact you're having on younger just by them watching you and knowing about your accolades. Coaches, when was it, either one of you can answer this or both, but when was it that you really realized that Cheyenne was a special athlete and could possibly do something great here at Sand Springs?
First day she ran with us was a Saturday, and her mom showed up during the summer program. The workout was a 3-mile workout on the Old North Road. They took off, and her mom was running with them. The team went out. I was driving my Jeep because I wanted to see.
That's what I'd be doing.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, I went out at the turnaround and Cheyenne turned around. At the turnaround, she was going back. Well, I headed back up Douglas Hill, and her mom was going down the hill as Cheyenne was coming back up. I went on back to the field house. I wanted to watch her finish just to see, and I noticed the focus that she had. So when we got back to the field house, and I saw her finish and the kick she had, saw the time that she had, it was good. Cheyenne walked up to me and said, "Did you see my mother out there?" And I said, "Yeah, she was going down Douglas Hill. She was coming up." I said, "You didn't see her?" And she said, "No, I didn't." And I told Coach Corbin then, I said, "This girl's got some focus. This girl's really going to be good."
And I met her probably a week or two prior to that at a road race when I went to go watch Morgan Long, and we had another boy, Sam Hunt, at one of the road races in Tulsa. And you can kind of, you've been in this business long enough, you can kind of eye up the competition just by looks overall, And I remember Morgan, we're looking around, and I told her, and we didn't know Cheyenne at that moment, and I said, "That girl there looks pretty good, so kind of, you can only run your race, but at the same time, that girl right there might give you a run for your money." Now, Morgan beat her, but Cheyenne wasn't too far behind, and about 20 minutes later, Morgan's mom's calling me on my cell phone, and I'm at a different part of the race, and she's like, "You got to come over here, you got to come over here." And I come over there, and there's Cheyenne, which I didn't know her at the time, and her mom, and they're like, "This girl's coming to Sand Springs next year," and I was like, "You're coming to Sand Springs next year?" She goes, "Yeah." And I was like, "You're sure?" And she's like, "Yeah." And so we were just like, man, I can't wait to talk to the athletic director, make sure we get everything cleared. Is she ready to run? We're like, can she? Is she eligible? So like we said, that's kind of started the program going, is what we got Morgan. Now you add in Cheyenne, we get Alexis, we start getting some more runners. Because in the past when I was trying to recruit runners, because since I teach elementary PE and Coach Burdge is a lay coach, it's hard for us to recruit the high schoolers and middle schoolers. We don't interact with them. And then every time I would talk to someone, they would say, "Well, I'm no Morgan Long. I'm no Morgan Long." But no one in this community at the time understood what it takes to make a cross-country team. They saw the individual greatness in Morgan, but they didn't know what it took. And I was like, "I don't need a Morgan. I have a Morgan. I need a 2. I need a 3 runner. I need a 4. We need a quality." Well, you get Cheyenne, and like I said, and that's how it kind of got going. But that's how we knew she was going to be good. Yes, Morgan beat her that day, but man, for someone that was 14 years old, not hot on Morgan Long's heels.
And now Morgan is 2 years older than Cheyenne?
Yes.
Because Cheyenne's
She's
a senior,
a sophomore
obviously.
right now.
Okay. Now, I talked to both of you guys when the team started kind of building back up again, but there were still, as a sports writer, it was so weird for me to refer to the girls as individuals in a race, because we would have 5. We would start with a couple, we get up to 5, maybe 6, and I think you have to have 7.
You have to only have 5 to actually score as a team.
Okay.
But you run with 7
Right.
max.
Okay, that's right. But there were times we weren't even hitting the 5.
No, my first few years, we could bring a Suburban. I always tell the story, but we could bring one Suburban with our boys and girls teams to a race. Yeah, so we were running all individuals, didn't have 5 to race.
That's just so crazy to me to go from something like that to having state champions. I mean, there's a lot of people that really don't realize what goes into being a state champion. And so to go from not having a team to having, girls that are winning state championships, that's just, that blows me away. But when you guys first saw her run, were you thinking, oh, she's going to win a state championship? Or were you thinking she's going to win 4 state championships? I mean, because winning 4 is, I would love to see the odds of that in Vegas.
Well, it's never been done. So
I mean, they allow betting on high school.
Do they not?
I don't
This
think
guy's
so.
been taking my money this whole time.
Yeah.
as far as the large classes, it's never been done. It's been done in the smaller classes, but it's never been done in the larger classes.
I don't think too much that far ahead when we're doing it, and Coach Corbin was looking at that much farther ahead and keeping track of that, and that's kind of most everything we do and say. Corbin and I think just about the same way, but we look at things like coaches usually telling me, well, we had a chance for this and this and this. I'm looking at workouts, and I don't usually think that far ahead. So as we went on, when we got the possibility the first time it happening, when we got the first team to go to the girls team to go to state, we actually went to soccer and volleyball to pull 2 girls out to get make a team. And I was talking to the reporter at the Tulsa World, and he was asking me about it, and I told him, we're bringing in a girl from volleyball agreed to run, and a girl from soccer come over to run, and they qualified for state, and that. They were pretty impressed that we were out knocking on doors and asking people to come over the first time. Making that first time as a team did help a whole lot about more kids wanting to get involved and seeing that there was actually that we were actually a force, and that there was an opportunity there to have opportunities. But enough also on the way things are going right now. Coach Corbin started 5 years ago. Started the elementary and the junior high program that we have during the summer. Was it 5 years ago?
That was like 8 or 9 years
8,
ago. Time
been that long?
flies.
Yeah.
Cheyenne, what is it that made you really get into running in the first place?
Well, my mom and my sister were doing 5Ks, and I asked one day if I could go run one, and she was like, well, we can't really do it without training, and we have a friend up in Mississippi, his name's Matt, and he does like half marathons and marathons every week, and he has a really good 5K, and I told my mom that I could beat it, and my mom was like, well, you can't do that without training. So we bet $100 that I could beat it, and we kind of trained for a little bit. And then the race came, and I was able to beat that time, and my mom had to give me $100.
That's awesome.
Rusty, I bet you $100 that you cannot beat Cheyenne in a race.
A race to the kitchen. Yeah. I would win. For sure.
My mom won't bet me anymore now.
I wouldn't either. So, did you play any other sports growing up?
Yeah, I played several sports. When I was little, I played gymnastics. I played football in 5th grade. I played baseball, softball, soccer, basketball.
Football. That's all, like actual
tackle. Yeah,
tackle football.
What position did you play?
running back.
Of course. As a former soccer coach, I would have loved to have had her engine. You know what I mean? She just goes, and she would have been a great forward, I think. So
I played soccer, I think, for 6 or 5 years.
Did you play forward?
I don't know.
Did you score a lot of goals?
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
I was little, not little,
I get you.
I was in middle school.
That's so long ago. I remember all of my scores.
That's
in
right. I've got all my clippings.
Every trophy.
I actually do. That's so sad.
That is sad. So, Cheyenne, is any of your state titles like more special than any of the others?
Yeah, the first one when our team first made it to state.
Love that you know it's about this the team for you. That's pretty special.
Well, hold on for a second, because there's an award that I heard about in Arkansas. Is it the apron?
Yeah, I think.
I want to hear about the apron that.
Tell them about that time you won an apron, Cheyenne.
Okay. Well, in Arkansas, this chili pepper race,
They can't even do it, laughing before they tell it.
I got second at this race, and they were handing out capes because that was the theme, was Superman, I guess. And I thought it was an apron, so I put it on as an apron, and yeah.
Meanwhile,
So what was that like, Coach?
Yeah, all
You were
the I'm in front of the stands trying to take good pictures, or in front of the little, whatever podium she's on with some of the other girls that finished the race in the top 15, and the girls are kind of putting the capes on or just kind of holding it in their hands. And Cheyenne's still looking down. I'm trying to get her attention because she's putting it on the front of her and trying to tie it behind her like an apron. And I'm trying to holler at her so she'll stop doing that. And she looks up finally and says, "What?" And I was like, "That's a cape, not an apron." But by then it was too late.
It was a capron.
It's a capron.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
Please
she
tell
kinda
me you got a
laughed.
picture of it.
Oh, yeah, we got pictures of it. It was in our slideshow for cross country and everything.
So one
Her
day
with
there's
the
going to
apron.
be a race here in Sand Springs, whether it's a 5K or whatever, and the prize is going to be a capron.
Yeah.
It's going to be the
That works.
Cheyenne Walden capron.
Capron 5K.
Capron 5K.
Capron 5K.
We've just created it.
I think it's great. It's great. Sponsored by Inkwell Printing. So, okay, talk about state titles again. Was the first one harder than the last one?
It was more, not really harder, but I know that the runners were getting stronger.
Coach, how do you coach a Cheyenne? When someone has that much talent, and my little brother's he was the tennis coach at Booker T, and he had some really good tennis players come through there, and basically his motto was, "I'm just trying not to screw them up." You know what I mean? So how do you coach someone like Cheyenne that is so talented?
I think like with a lot of runners, you got to build a rapport and a trust first of all. But then when you have someone like you're saying with her that has so much talent, and then we've had with the Morgan Longs and a few others that I don't know about getting out of the way. You got to write the training program that's going to help them. But for the most part, you're right. Like that, she already has the God-given abilities that's going to get her where she's going physically. But sometimes we just have to play. Not sometimes. We have to play more the mental side of everything. She puts enough stress and pressure on herself to be the best, and it's constantly driving. So I feel like my job more times than not is to say that's enough. Enough is we're done for today, or here's the big picture in life. I've talked about sometimes with some of the races they've been in and everything to try to alleviate some of that pressure that she puts on herself. That seems to be more what you got to work on constantly.
Now, can they be head cases? I mean,
For
because
sure. I'd say my best runners are head cases because they put so much pressure on themselves.
Yeah.
So then you got to know to back off as far as that, because they're putting enough on themselves. The top runners are. They don't need to hear from us. You need to work harder. If anything, when we'll take this all day long, you've got to constantly pull the reins back. No, you're done today. You said you got this little twinge here.
Right.
You were done. No, but I can still do. We've talked about it. It's harder to be smart than tough. When it comes to any athlete, any sport, it's easy to be tough and grind through that when it hurts and do all that. It's hard to be smart and to go, something's wrong right now, and big picture is I want to get to state or whatever. So for this match, this meet, this race, I'm going to step off. This whole week I'm going to take off because I'm not going to lose any cardio. I need to figure out what's going on right now. You know what I mean? And she's gotten that by senior year. But you've got to know, Coach Burdge and I coaching these runners, who they are. Certain ones we'll let them start a race and go, hey, if you start feeling it, just step off. Cheyenne Walden, I would never let her take a line if I even think she has pain, because she's not going to step off. As much as she's a good girl and great listener, but she's just going to grind through it. So I wouldn't, we would never let her start because she just has that, gamesmanship that she's not going to quit. So you've got to be smart as the coach to go, I'm not letting you run, and you can be mad at me, and we'll, talk about it later. But
and that's why I don't let Rusty run.
Well, that's my new mantra is that it's harder to be smart than tough.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I'm really just trying to be smart here.
I don't want you to hurt yourself.
Yeah, I appreciate that so
when
much.
Cheyenne when we were our first regionals, and Morgan was always a challenge. And I was talking to Morgan. I talked to Morgan, make sure she's ready, and talking to her. And Cheyenne, first year, and she'd never. I thought had her game face on, and she was looking good. And I got Morgan ready to go, and I thought got a couple of seconds. We're about ready to go. I walked up to Cheyenne and said, "Everything going all right?" Threw my arm around her, just kind of about halfway joking, and she broke out into tears. And I thought, "Oh no, I never thought about." So I started talking to her, and she toed it up for the start in tears and crying. I thought, I didn't figure that'd mess with her cardio, but she ran the race and won, and won that race, that regional, her first regional race, she won. So when everyone was all slapping on the back and all the congratulating, I was standing over to the side and I let it go on for a while. And pretty soon I hollered to Cheyenne. I asked her to come over there to me, and I said, now then we have some time. I want you to explain to me what it was that you were all so upset about before the race started. And got a laugh. But even with the question you asked before about has some of them been harder than others for progressively, the physical part and her speed has been dominating, but what we have to watch is to make sure that she don't put too much pressure on herself before the races. Because she wins, she's ahead of the second place runner by 43 seconds at the end, but before the race, we see the jitters and she's and eyes watering up a little bit.
So Cheyenne, with all of that and all the advice and the counsel and the coaching that you've gotten from these guys over the years, what is the best advice they've given you about running or about life?
Watch it.
I don't really know. They've gave really a lot of advice that I'll probably never forget.
But you can't
I
remember.
can't remember now.
But I can't name any of
It's
it.
so good. It's burned deep into her
deep
brain.
I can't.
So it's all been internalized, is what you're saying, and it just kind of fleshes itself out as you're
Well,
in the moment.
And Coach was talking about how it's just a race. Are you able to? You're a competitor, obviously. So are you able to hear them say, "This is just a race"? And are you able to take that in and say, "You know what? It is just a race"? Or do you say, "These guys are crazy. They have no idea what they're talking about. This race is everything"?
Yeah, probably that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you see. That's what we see in her eyes.
Take me through like a day's workout for a cross country runner who is, a state champion. So like, what do you, when the route that they give you for practice or whatever, like how far is that? Where do you go? What do you pass? Do you take in any of the scenery as you're going? What's that look like for you?
Like the workouts we do are just usually like how you feel that day, and like Corbin said, like if it hurts, I'm not gonna really stop. Like yesterday, we did the speed work, and I had to stop early because I was hurting, but I didn't want to. And but when I go on like runs like in the woods, I definitely look at the scenery, just take it all in, and just I know I can do this. Like not everyone can run and do it by themselves. So
Yeah. I actually, 7th grade, I went out for cross country, and our workouts kind of like I've seen you guys running through town, and so we had that too. Our coach would stay up at the track. He didn't run with us like I see you guys coaches do. He just sat at the track and hung out and waited for us. But we had this route. We'd have to run down the hill, and then we'd go by this grocery store that had like booths sitting there, and they had like a little snack shop kind of thing going on in the front. And so me and
I think I know where the story's going. I think I do.
So me and a couple of buddies, we would run along with the group, and then we kind of peel off of the group and go in there and get a drink and something to eat. And we wait, and when they're coming back by, we would run back out with them and just run right back up the hill to the school, and there we were. So,
Did you ever get back to the school with mustard on your shirt
never
and have to explain why?
that never happened, and we had an understanding with the other runners that no one would ever tell. So
Everybody nobody likes a snitch.
it wasn't going to happen there.
When you're healthy and you're training, how many miles in a day do you run normally? When you practice for high school and then you go practice for club, how many miles could you possibly put in a day?
Well, we really just run at practice. With Corbin, we do like strength workout and stretches and like for after races and before races. And it really just depends on what like week we're on. Because
Well, like, what's the longest long run you've ever gone on?
18.
I don't even drive that far.
And about how many miles? Like, what's the most miles you've ever done in a week?
50.
That's insane.
Yeah,
that's
too much.
that's awesome.
That's too
Is
much.
what it is. I mean,
That's a trip to Jinx and back.
That's crazy. If I just, you talked about her bursting out into tears. If someone told me I had to run a 5K, that's the first thing I would do.
Yeah, it'd be totally different reasons
to
for
burst out
bursting
into tears. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, Cheyenne, you've done something that no one else has done before. You won 4 state cross country championships here in Oklahoma, and you're going to go on to run in college. Can you take it further than that? After college, do you have plans on doing anything else running related?
Yes. In 2020, I want to go to the Olympics, and then like several years Olympics after that.
Here's what's crazy, okay? There are a lot of high schools who never have an Olympic athlete. We could possibly have 2 in the same year.
Phenomenal.
With Dayton Fix with wrestling and with Cheyenne. And that's insane to me. That is crazy. And I think it speaks volumes about the town, the people, the support that they get. And I didn't know that you had planned on the Olympics, but I kind of had a feeling, so I basically just set that up so I could say that. But I mean, I think that's amazing. And so do you start training now? I mean, is it something that you think about when you're training even today?
Not really when I'm training. I think about it like most all the time, just because that's one of my biggest goals.
And we've tried to help make sure that when she goes to college, she has a higher ceiling, hopefully, than most, because she said she's hit 50 miles, but that's super rare. Honestly, I remember her freshman year talking to some of the coaches from other teams. They're like, what kind of mileage is she doing? I'm like, 20 to 25. And they're like, how? Like, I'm like, no, that's in a week. Because in our world, that's really not that much at all. Like, especially, but our philosophy is you got to be healthy to toe the line. You can't toe the line if you're broke or hurt. So, when they come in as freshmen, our boys and girls, we kind of keep their miles limited. You know, you got to see who's injury prone, who's not. You can work with that. But so going into college, we feel like she has a higher ceiling than a lot of the other elite runners that are going to be going into college, because a lot of them are doing 50 to 75 every week. So they're really shining right now. And there are girls that go to college and still do great. But what happens is they're like, to me, I say they're like a used car. You send them in with too many miles, there's not that much left, to where we feel like with her, though, because we kept her miles down so low, like she has way more room to operate. We hope when she goes to college and then tries to hopefully get to the Olympics and things like that.
And one thing that goes right along with it that Coach Corbin and I have thought about and planned about, even when I raced doing amateur racing, I did a lot less miles than the guys that I were running against, and that was because I was raising a family. But one of the things I learned during that time, racing, I was racing with guys that were doing the same thing. They were doing 40 and 50 miles, and I was only able to get in 21 to 25 because of everything that I had a family going on. What we've learned is that it's quality of the workout. Instead, a lot of people do a lot of junk miles. I got to have 50 miles in. That makes no difference what it is, but we lean more toward it. And Coach Corbin does a whole bunch for that, because he gets a little more creative about workouts. And we figure every mile she does has a reason and a purpose, and we don't run any miles just to be putting in miles.
Right on. So speaking of college, you're going to go to OSU. Were there any other schools that kind of were in competition there for?
Arkansas.
Arkansas, right on. Did you have doubts about OSU?
Yeah.
Well, okay, I was going to say, before you answer, we asked Cheyenne and Dayton that same question, and it has nothing to do with OSU. It was just, that's where they picked. But they both said yes, because there were some things where they weren't really sure, they were maybe being pulled, and so they kind of had that same answer. So go ahead and answer it. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, one of them was like the facilities and stuff, but after I talked to Dave Smith, he's the head coach there, I told him that, and he was like, well, you can't really look at the facilities. You have to more look at the team and the coaches, and that's kind of what made my decision of going to OSU.
Nice.
And that's kind of been the answer, really, from those two as well. It was about the people, the coaches. I mean, they just absolutely fell in love with the coaches and the team. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's crazy. Well, first of all, this year, seeing as many Sand Springs kids go D1 as they've had is really impressive for a school this size. But to know that 3 are going to go to one particular school, Oklahoma State, is even more impressive. It's almost like we've got a pipeline going to Oklahoma State, and so there's it's kind of one of those things where, like the name Sand Springs, when you're talking about D1 kids and stuff like that, it's Oklahoma State. So
Well, we've talked about this a little bit before in a couple of the other episodes, but just the relationship aspect in our community. And so I think, when those students are going and checking out of college, what they feel from that opportunity to have a relationship with the coach and the community around them there really plays into those decisions. And so that's pretty incredible, I think, not just looking at the facilities and some of those things that are just surface, but really looking deeper.
I asked Rod Sitton if he's asked OSU for a parking place up there.
It's almost like we're their farm team,
Yeah, San Diego Cowboys.
Yeah.
And one thing, like Coach Smith said when they had visited with Cheyenne that we were at, he said, I think about coming here also because you're a legend in Oklahoma, and we would love to have you here to continue having people that want to watch you. And we know Arkansas is not that far away, but it's not going to hurt that all these kids. I mean, and she knows, but she would never say all this. But like Coach Burdge was saying earlier, with that elementary program I have, I mean, those kids adore her. Like, and there are usually at the cross country races, the elementary's first, and there are several parents who are like, okay, we're done, let's go. And a lot of those kids are like, no, we're staying to watch Cheyenne. Not only because they know she's going to win, but and what she does is a work of art out there to people like us. But she volunteers like hundreds of hours in all these years, just volunteers. She'll be there usually before I'm trying to get there on time, and she's calling me like, where are you? And I'm like, man, why is one of my volunteers calling to see where I am? I'm not even late yet, but she's already there trying to help set up, do everything, and that's all out of the goodness of her heart. And because she has such a gift from God that she wants to use and spread to others, she is a hero to those kids. So to get to stay in Stillwater, my little boy already, I mean, she's second family to us. And he's always like, so when's she race next year? And they already want to go drive to Stillwater, and I know she won't be racing too much locally, but that's a big deal to stay in state for all those kids, especially that look up to her.
Well, and I think that also speaks to you guys, and specifically, I know you in the elementary school. My boys go to the school where you are, and they come home talking about Mr. Corbin all the time and telling me why I shouldn't eat this and shouldn't eat that.
Sorry about that.
Where was he whenever I was in school?
Exactly. And I'm like, hey, listen, Mr. Corbin don't know everything, but but I know that care and that taking it beyond just the mechanics of everything, but really caring about who they are and what they become has probably the investment you're making above and beyond what's expected really in your curriculum base, and so it's really kind of bleeds over into, it looks like, the athletes that are following in those footsteps as well.
We've had several coaches it's happened all along that they come to us and tell us that they use Cheyenne to talk to their team about sportsmanship. She'll win a race, go right back and fill her arms full of bottles of water and go back and start giving them to kids as they come in and they start and hugging people. She's done a gave more.
Do they ever seem mad? Like, because you just beat them by 4 minutes and now you're going to hand them water and give them a hug?
I would do it as a smart aleck. I'm like, yeah, give me a high five.
Nice try. Nice try. High five. Nice try. Nice try. High five.
Need some water?
Better luck next time.
So
Okay.
Cheyenne, why do you do that? Why do you at the end of winning everything, instead of going and talking to reporters or doing whatever, you stop and you high five or give waters or shake hands or pat backs of every race? Why do you do that?
Well, one of my first races, I was like, I just wanted to do it just because, even though if you're the last person on that course, it doesn't really matter. You're out here doing your best and showing everyone that you can run.
Well, and I said this to Dayton Fix, who's a world-renowned wrestler here at Sand Springs, and I said to him, you're considered one of the best in the world, and Cheyenne, with you, you're not just the best runner in Sand Springs or the best runner in Oklahoma. You are one of the best runners in the country. If it were me, if I was the best at something, I would be impossible to live with. Because if I'm ever good at anything, all bets are off.
Aren't you already?
Well, I don't like to brag. I don't know if you notice, I don't like to brag. But, to me, I honestly can't wrap my brain around being the best at something in that regards. And so how are you able to deal with that? Because I know it does come with pressure, but you're really humble and you're sweet, and just like they said, you volunteer and all that kind of stuff. Is there ever a time where you've just thought, you know what, I'm the best, I don't have to do that? You know what I mean?
No.
Okay. I would.
Easy enough.
I totally would. I totally would.
So if we lived in a culture where there was arranged marriages, a Dayton Fix and a Cheyenne Walden athletic prowess, if you were trying to,
I think it would be illegal.
Yeah.
Just because the kid
Not
would,
fair. Just not fair.
family would just be too athletic.
Yeah, I think that's
Or
probably
either that or be
the
a
case.
chess champion.
Yeah, right.
Just really, really
To go the
smart.
opposite
Yeah.
way. It'd be different.
Exactly.
It's totally different.
Yeah.
It's funny. Okay, so obviously, I don't know a lot about running.
What?
Do we need to explain the rules of
I
cross
said
country?
obviously. Maybe it should be maybe I shouldn't say obviously because I mean look at me. But there's some terminology that may be interesting to those who are listening. Some term like fartlek or something like that. What is that?
Yeah,
What-
the little kids like when we get that, and I say little kids, and you coaching enough teenagers, you start throwing around the word like fartlek, and you
oh,
kind
not
of
fartlek, fartlek.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I try to enunciate the fartlek, otherwise people will say it's a lot of licking farts and stuff.
right.
So
All I hear
we
is
gotta-
fartlek. That's all I
Yeah,
hear.
yeah. Trust me, I have to remind myself sometimes that I'm supposed to be the grown up at practices, so. I have to enunciate the lek. It's fartlek. It's Swedish. It means speed play, and that's one of the workouts we do. So it's just the kind of going fast for a minute, slow for a minute, or you play with the times on it. But the term is speed play. It's Swedish. It's
Okay.
fartlecking. Yeah. So
Fartlecking.
we heart to fartlek in the cross country world.
That's awesome. Love it. Now, there's at least a little bit more maybe inside knowledge about running, people who are running long distance. And what do you do if you got to go?
Well,
Go where, Rusty?
Go potty.
I've had occasions where runners, as I'm hugging them and they're finished the race, so proud of them, as I'm getting ready to hug them, will tell me, "Coach, I peed myself." And
Nice.
I won't name names, and I tell them that's all right. I've been running and racing for 25 years, and if you think about it, what could happen while you're running? I've done ultra marathons to 1 mile races. So if you can imagine it happening, it's happened to me. So nothing's going to embarrass. You shouldn't be embarrassed is what I tell them. I mean, you try not to relieve yourself on yourself at any point, but it happens.
Does it slow you down? I mean, like either way, whether you hold it, does that slow you down?
If it's
Or
during
if you-
practice, you try to find a good tree or a bush or
Right.
something like that. But
Now,
if it's
can you
during a
leave the
race,
chorus?
You're
during
not-
a race?
you're not
Like during a
supposed
cross-country
to.
race? Okay.
I would say, one time actually when I was in high school, I had to go during a race, and I just kind of was doing a side run sideways, so I turned away from the crowd and kind of. It happens, but I didn't really slow down for too long because you're in the middle of a race.
That's one of the reasons I don't run too. Golly.
Yeah. And I've also perfected during like road races and stuff, which that's another thing we haven't mentioned. That Cheyenne actually holds the state record for a 17-year-old female in a road race 5K. She holds that record.
Wow.
She's the second fastest ever in a 10K for that age group. So she's in the top 5 on several things, but she holds those groups. But you go to races and there's only like 5 porta potties and there's 500 people there. So
What do you do?
I've perfected that you're checking the air pressure in a lot of the cars out in the parking lot sometimes. So those porta potty lines get kind of ridiculous.
That's
The only record I've ever held is Duran Duran's greatest hits.
That's a good one.
Now is the time where we usually do a little bit of trivia. It's just for fun. It's no big deal. It's either history or Sand Springs history or whatever. So we're gonna test and this is just
for fun.
just for fun, and this is just for Cheyenne. So we're just gonna ask you a few trivia questions, and then we're gonna do rapid fire questions. This is Rusty loves this, where you answer questions really fast, and we'll even get the coaches in on it and let them answer some questions. So,
All right. You ready for your first question? Trivia. What businessman founded the town of Sand Springs, and what year was it established?
Charles Page,
that is correct.
1927.
That wasn't a
guessing.
bad.
A little bit off,
a bad
but
guess.
not bad. 1911 actually is the year.
That wasn't a bad
Not
guess.
bad. Not bad.
I'm going to stick with Charles Page question. Charles Page's first wife was named Lucille. What was his second wife's name?
I don't know.
You give?
Yeah.
It was Lucille.
Oh.
Crazy, isn't it?
He definitely had a type, I think.
Yeah. I'm looking for somebody
Girl's named Lucille.
I'm looking for a girl named Lucille. So where did Mike Burdge graduate from, and what year did he graduate?
Oh.
Now, the first part of that you better get right.
Where did he graduate from?
Charles Page.
That is correct.
All right, now what year? This is great.
This is
'cause
what's gonna
this
get her,
could go
yeah.
great. No help here. No help.
No
from
help. No help.
Well, Sand Springs was founded in 1911, so it's not before that.
That's true. Not-
All right.
It's close to, I think, maybe.
1978.
Oh,
Wow.
Bless your heart.
How about 1969? So a little
Not too bad.
The Vietnam War was in 1970, Cheyenne.
Oh, I should have known that.
and I have to tell you, last week we had Bella Regalado and JC Tabor on. And before we started doing the podcast, I don't know how it got brought up, but someone asked her how old she thought you and I were. They started with 60 years old. That was where they started.
There's no, yeah.
And the
there's no
sad thing is
concept.
they weren't kidding at all. So,
It's terrible.
okay. Cheyenne, Sand Springs has won 3 team state titles in what 3 sports?
Are they all different?
Yes.
Football?
Yes.
Baseball?
No,
Softball?
No.
not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Basketball?
Yes. Boys or girls?
Boys.
No.
Girls.
Dang it.
And wrestling.
Oh,
So it was
okay.
football, girls, basketball, and wrestling.
What is Coach Corbin's favorite color?
Orange.
Are we correct?
Black.
Whatever.
I didn't even know the answer. I just
Orange
threw
is
it
the
out
new
there.
black, right? That's
Yeah,
what we
there you
heard.
go.
So
There you go.
She got that right. That was good. Good answer.
Okay, 3,200. They're a 3,200 meter race. You've obviously ran that numerous times. How many feet are in 3,200 meters?
She looks like she's actually like calculating.
I know.
in her
I
head.
saw
would,
that.
I
There's
would
no-
just throw out a number and guess.
Yeah,
I don't
I couldn't
know. Are
even
you
start it.
calculating? Or are you? Do you guys
I
know?
don't know.
How many feet?
Yeah, how many
In a
feet?
2 mile?
in a-
Now, do you know the
3,200
conversion?
meters?
Is it about 3 feet per
yes,
meter?
yes.
So 3 times 3,000 would be 9,000. 3 times 2, so 9,600.
10,240.
Yeah,
A
so the
meter's-
meter's a little more than 3 feet.
Meters,
'cause a
Little
10
different.
a meter's 39 inches.
So a 10K,
Oh, okay.
10.2. No, never mind. Sorry.
Something like that.
Yeah, a
Something
meter's
like that.
32 inches. I remember. I mean, 39 inches. I remember that from
Now,
military.
if I'm wrong about that, it's very possible because I am horrible
Oh, no.
at math.
No. I just
I
teach
mean-
elementary PE. That's why.
How many steps is that if when you're running?
It depends.
Depends.
Good answer.
On?
What's stride length? What's your
Yeah.
stride length? Hers is about 37 inches, 36. Somewhere, so she's closer to doing 3 feet of stride.
So that's about 10,000. I guess 3,200 steps.
I'd have to time mine with a calendar if I did a 3,200 meter race.
Sundial, how long it took you.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to do some rapid fire, and that's kind of how we'll begin to wrap up. So I'm just going to ask you quick questions, and I just need a quick response. First thing that comes to your mind, okay? So here we go. Pizza or tacos?
Pizza.
What weapon would you use in a zombie apocalypse?
Gun.
Rap or country music?
Country.
Nike or Under Armour?
Nike.
Who is Luke Skywalker's father?
Stop. I don't know.
Well, you got
Vader?
yes.
I am your father. Okay. Do aliens exist?
No.
Instagram or Snapchat?
Both.
Biggest fear?
No fear.
No.
has no fear.
Yeah.
What do you order at Starbucks?
I don't go to Starbucks.
Good for you. Tropical or sour Skittles?
I don't eat Skittles.
Reese's Cups or Reese's Pieces?
Reese's.
Which one?
Yeah, they're
Pieces or
both
Cups?
Reese's.
She's like, yep.
She's like,
So that's
yes.
both, I
Yes.
guess. Yes.
No
to
Reese's cups.
Cups? All right. We'll go to Mr. Corbin. Let's do some rapid fire.
All right.
Burgers or dogs?
Burgers.
Is Bigfoot real?
No.
Have you seen The Notebook?
Yes.
Did you cry?
No.
Whatever.
Who was Princess Leia's brother?
Luke Skywalker.
Favorite high school teacher?
Coach Mironov.
Who would win the 40-yard dash between you and Cheyenne?
Me.
What other sport would you like to coach?
Basketball.
Subway or Bill and Ruth's?
Subway.
Worst sports injury?
Broken nose.
Superman or Batman?
Oh, Batman.
All right, there we go.
All right.
Rapid fire.
Hey, can I ask you guys a question real quick?
No, we're the hosts. We
Oh,
asked.
okay.
We asked.
That's
we
why I
don't-
asked permission. That's why I asked permission. Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or 1 horse-sized duck?
That's a really good question.
Would you rather be a giant hamster
answer the
or
question.
a tiny elephant?
Oh, I do tiny rhinoceros at elementary. I go with tiny.
So there's not an answer to that?
Oh, to me there is.
What's your answer?
I thought you were answering his question with a question.
I do that sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Don't I?
100 horses the size of a duck or 1 duck the size of a horse. Cheyenne, what would you rather fight?
A lot of ducks.
All right. Well, that's a lot of horses, though. They're miniature horses, basically.
Oh, no, then I'll go with the other one.
All right. One giant duck.
Yeah, because how can
right.
it?
I think I would rather see duck-sized horses
Yeah,
just
but
because
just for the cuteness factor.
Like, what?
I mean, I'd hate to beat them up, but
Yeah, but just,
A big duck could be pretty terrifying. I don't know what they would use to fight, but just the thought of it.
Last question. Would you rather be the world's best badminton player or have $50 cash?
we talk about being the world's best at something.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
You could buy badminton lessons with $50.
That's true.
true.
But you're already
True.
the best.
Oh, that's a good point.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. I didn't mean to derail
No,
us there.
you didn't at all.
That's great.
We love that stuff.
Fun times.
Well, I really appreciate you guys coming in. You know, we just wanted to, not that she needs it, but give Cheyenne a shout out for her hard work and her dedication and just being a great ambassador for Sand Springs. And you guys are obviously a part of that as well. And I know that cross country and track don't get a lot of coverage. It's not like football is here in Oklahoma, but to do what she did, it's not any less impressive. It's amazing what she did, and we've enjoyed just talking about her accomplishments, you know, throughout the years, and we really appreciate you guys.
Well, we appreciate you guys having us on,
Yeah.
giving us publicity, and I can't say it enough time. What Cheyenne Walden has done has forever changed running in Sand Springs.
Absolutely.
Like, forever. The impact she's made, it'll last forever.
How's
we
that
just,
feel?
We just got to keep it going.
How's that feel to have that kind of legacy? Don't know, huh?
I think it's one of the things she'll
It'll
look
sink
back
in
and-
one day.
Yeah, she'll look back one
Yeah.
day and know that she changed it all.
Fantastic.
She'll come back, and when we unveil the statue of her running on the North Road, we'll.
Hey, that's
Cheyenne,
fine with me.
congratulations and good luck, and we
Thank you.
we're rooting you on all the way through.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Welcome.
Thank you.